Good day, and welcome to the financial coaching series for today's session entitled Spending. Now, a question may come to mind. What is this guy going to tell me about spending that I don't already know? When it comes to spending, the first thing is it is one of the three pillars as it relates to money. There are only three main things you can do with money. You can give money to your local charities or to your local church. You can save and invest money for your future, for retirement, and you can spend money. Now, most of us are professional at spending money. Matter of fact, we may even say we have a master's or a doctorate degree in spending money. We know how to spend money. We know where to spend money. We know when to spend money. But when you really think about it, spending money is the key of those three because how we spend money determines how much we can save and invest, how much we can give, how we can prepare for our future, and how we can live our best life every day. So this session is going to focus on spending. We're going to start with the first area, and we're going to go to a PowerPoint slide, and we're going to start with the topic of control your money. Everybody think about that. I'm going to start sharing my screen, and we're going to be looking at control your money. So here we are at our first slide. We're going to speak about controlling our money. When you think about controlling your money, this is critically important. If we don't have any control on the money we use, then it's going to get away from us. It's going to be spent frivolously. It will not do that which it should do. When we think about controlling our money, we want to look at our money as though it's an army and we are the general of that army. So we need to tell our dollars, our $5 bills, our $20 bills, our $10 bills, our $1 bills, our quarters, nickels, pennies, and dimes. We need to tell each of them what their job is, send them on their mission, and then make sure they accomplish their mission. Now, when we think about taking this different perspective on money, it will position us for a better today, for a better tomorrow. It'll impact not only our own selves and our family, but it'll impact our children and the next generation after them and the next generation after them. And the way that we control our money can have a real impact on our family from now and going forward. So let's look at some true details with regards to this first slide. When we talk about controlling our money, this next slide talks about making a monthly spending and saving plan. Now, this is critically important because without a plan, we have chaos. Without a plan, we don't reach our objective, we don't reach our goals. It is critical that we have a monthly spending and saving plan. I would even exchange or turn those around and say monthly savings and then spending plan. Remember, we talked about three things we do with money. We can give money, we can save and invest money, and we can spend money. So we look at creating a monthly saving and spending plan. This is where we are the general that's leading our army of money. We use a spending and saving plan to tell each dollar, each cent, what to do and to send it on its mission. Let's look at our next slide. Next slide simply talks about we are to use a monthly spending and savings plan to guide how we use our money. When we think about being in control of our money, we have to really focus on being specific about the plan that we have. So when we think about a plan for our money, we need to make provisions for food, clothing, shelter, utilities, and all of those things that we absolutely need. And then from there, we start to uh, direct our money to those other areas, the things that we want or other obligations that we have. But the key thing with regard to controlling our money is that if we don't have a plan, then we're not in control of our money. Our spending and our oversight of our money is out of control. This is a key area and a critical point about taking control of our money. It starts with a plan. Some people don't like the word budget, so we talk about a budget or a spending plan, but there must be a guide and there must be what's the word I'm looking for? A plan, a guide, a direction set in order to do the best we can with spending our money. Let's go to our next slide. When we think about spending and saving, there are going to be several key things that we have to look at. One of the first considerations when we're looking at putting together our spending and saving plan is to look at our income. That is the money that we're bringing in. Income from all sources. We have income from our job. We could have income from a second job. We could have be in the gig economy where we may be doing Uber, Lyft, DoorDash. We may have a second job, or we may have an entrepreneurial pursuit that we're involved in. We want to look at all income that's coming in. First, that's step one. Second thing is now we got to look at expenses. What are we spending our money on? And when it comes to this now, we have to really take a real in-depth dive to see where every dollar and every cent is going. So we'll know all of our expenses for food, gas, bus fare, car payment, house payment, rent, mortgage, utilities, cable, clothing, shoes, any kind of service that we're paying for. We got to look at every single expense and leave no stone unturned. We have to know that. Because what this first step is, when we look at the building blocks of our savings and spending plan, we got to figure out how much money we got coming in and how much money is going out. Once we do that, we'll know one of three things. Either at the end of the month, we have money left over, or at the end of the month, we have spent more money than we brought in, or we break even. X amount of dollars came in and the same amount of dollars went out. Once we look at that, that lets us know where we are and gives us a solid financial analysis of our situation at that point in time. From there, we can use that information to make specific decisions. So we think about the building blocks of our savings and spending plan. It's going to be 3 or 4 key areas. We got to know our income. We got to know our expenses. We got to use the income and expenses to see exactly where we are. Are we in a situation where we're in the red, meaning we're behind and we didn't have enough money for the month? We ran out of money before the month ran out. Are we in the black, meaning we have a surplus, meaning we paid all our bills, we have money left over at the end of the month? Or do we just break even? We spent money, money came in, and we spent the same amount that came in. Once we know these things, then we have those building blocks of our spending and savings plan, and that lets us know what are our next steps. Now, when we start to think about a spending and saving plan, what we want to look at now is let's think about what are some daily or weekly ideas that we can come up with, things that we can apply on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, or even a monthly basis that's going to help us with our spending. As we look at this slide, one of the first things it talks about is recording your saving, your sharing, and your spending. This is a very important point because we must write down the amount of money that we're saving and the amount of money we're spending and really track our spending and saving habits. What this does for us is it shows us where we are. It gives us a picture of what's really going on. When we don't write it down, we may have spent, dollars and dollars on potato chips, for lack of a better example, and just not even know what's going on because we spend something daily. Say, for instance, we go out to lunch each day, or we have a specific ritual that we get coffee in the morning and on the way home, or whatever the ritual may be. These things have a cost associated with them. So by recording those things, we get to see where we are, and we can see where we can cut back, where we can move things around, we can make changes that gives us more money for saving and investing. Another idea on here is one that I really like, is collect your change. This idea can be expanded to not only collect your change, but you can collect your $1 bills or your $5 bills. And so say, for instance, that every time I get a $1 bill or a $5 bill, I don't spend it. Well, that comes as a matter of getting change, or I cashed a check and I got $5 bills or $1 bills from spending here and there. I decide I'm going to just save that. That can amount to a great amount of money over time. And that money could be used to deal with an emergency that come up, or could be used to start a savings or to add to a saving, or could be used to start investing money for the future, for retirement, or for a specific item or a specific adventure that you're looking to do. So let's think about some other ideas when we think about our daily things that we can do on a daily basis that's going to help us with spending. Also, we can look at what are some things that are a little longer range. We look at as far as weekly or monthly. One of the ideas that we have here is the envelope system. Envelope system involves using envelopes, your standard envelopes, to determine how much money you're going to spend in a certain category. You deposit that amount of money in the envelope, and you use that money for that specific category. Let's say, for instance, we're going to spend a certain amount of money on purchasing gas. Let's say that amount of money was $80, and that was supposed to last for, let's say, the month. So we put $80 in an envelope. We only use it for our gas purchases, and we use that money. But when it runs out, we don't have any more in that category. So we don't overspend, and then we manage that money better because we know we have a certain amount that we want to spend on that particular item. Another idea is to do a weekly money check-in. Say for instance, you pick one day of the week, could be Friday or one day on the weekend, where you check in and see, how did you do with your money this week? Did I reach my saving goal for the week? Did I spend excessively during the week? Did I splurge? Or was I able to capture, $25 bills in my transaction that's now in saving? Do a check-in and see where we are. It's real important to always assess where things are in order to determine what you need to change, modify, or to keep doing. And our last area we look at is, what are some monthly ideas we can do? Similar to what we said for a weekly check-in, we should definitely do a monthly review. And that's where we re-up, so to speak, on our savings plan and our spending plan for the month. Each month, before the month begins, you want to know what is going to happen with the money I'm going to get. What is the mission I'm going to send my army of dollars and cents on? What are they going to do? What are they going to attack? What are they going to take care of? What are they going to conquer? So one of the things we do in our monthly review is to put together what happens in the next month. And right here it says we're looking at May on our slide. So I know this is April 5th. So you definitely want to look at the fact of begin to think about what's going to happen in the next month. What obligations do I have coming up? And then plan that out in your spending plan, as well as also remembering to add into that what you're going to do as it relates to savings. Another idea on here is to celebrate success. Now this one is really important. As we move forward and we're laying out financial objectives and goals, we have to recognize and celebrate when we succeed. No matter how small it is, no matter how great it is, celebrate that success. To recognize success encourages us to continue to move forward, encourages us to go to the next step, encourages us to do things better, encourages us to be more bold in our plans for our money. So we want to celebrate success. It also talks about preparation for taxes. One of the key things in preparing for taxes is to make sure that our W-4 form, our withholding form, is in order such that enough money is being taken out over the course of the year, over the course of each paycheck, over the course of each month, such that we don't have to pay taxes at the end of the year or owe Uncle Sam and Auntie State of Wisconsin at that point in time. What we want to do is have enough money taken out, the proper amount taken out, such that we don't owe an excessive amount of money. And you also don't want to get a large amount of money back. We want to have the money each paycheck that we need to do the things we need to do. So that I know that you all have other ideas of things we can do on a daily or weekly or monthly basis, but think about those. And you put these ideas in place in order to keep our focus, in order to stay on track, in order to continue to move forward in your financial plan. Now, when we think about money in general, and we think about spending, let's talk about increasing our income. You know, a little while ago, we talked about looking at all of our income and looking at all of our expenses. One of the things that we have to do when we look at our income and expenses, we're going to either see that we're in the red, not enough money, too much money, we're in the black, surplus, more money, or we break even. In either one of those situations, we may see the need to increase our income, particularly if we're in the red or we're breaking even. If we're in the red, meaning we're negative, we definitely need to increase our income. Also, if we break even, then if any kind of emergency comes up, that'll throw us off and we'll quickly go into the red. So think about how can we increase our income? Our slide offers us a few ideas here. We talk about, are there things that we could sell? Could we secure a part-time job? Or could we look at just in being promoted and moving forward in our career, in the job that we have? Also, a lot of people have entrepreneurial ideas. They have dreams of starting their own business. We can do that. We can start small and begin to generate a steady level of income and continue to move that up. Those are ways we can increase our income. So we have to look at, how can I increase this income? Is there a business idea that I have that I can move forward and have it bring more income in? Or do I seek the promotion on my job? Or not only just a promotion at the job, but do I seek employment with another employer that's going to give me a raise and better benefits? And we look at all of those things and see how we can increase our income. So as you look at this, begin to think about ways you can increase your income. And remember, folks, dream those big dreams. Dream those dreams that we dreamed as children, where nothing was impossible. And grasp a hold of that and live it out now. As we continue to look at money, we see on our next slide, page 8, we have some spending and recording tools that are out there for people to use. Now, some of us who may be old school use a simple tool of paper and pencil to record the money that's coming in, the money that's going out, and to plan that way. But in today's world, there are a lot of different resources that are electronic in nature and that you can grab with apps. So definitely look at taking advantage and utilizing those tools that are out there. We have several that are mentioned here. We have Mint, which is set up for budgeting and credit monitoring. Typically, your own personal bank has some type of finance software that's attached with your checking account. Some of those tools are right there. There's also another area called Honeydew. That's for budgeting and working with your partner. We talked earlier about the envelope budgeting system, where you Use envelopes for specific categories that you're going to be spending in. Put that certain amount of money in, and then once it's gone, that category is wrapped up for the month. We also have a website here that you can use. There's several others that you may be aware of. One that I'm aware of is a budgeting area called Every Dollar. And it takes that name because it does what I talked about earlier. It gives every dollar an assignment, such that your managing of your money on a monthly basis can be done in a good fashion. Also, in the plan in our next slide, when you look at your money situation, you either want to increase your income, decrease your expenses, or do both. Increasing income is going to help, decreasing expenses is going to help, and if we're able to do both, so double help. So also when we think about decreasing expenses, we got to be willing to make sacrifices. Think about our needs, our wants, and our obligation. And remember, when we think about what are our needs, we have basic needs: food, clothing, shelter, water, and utilities. If we look at the basics, those are things that we need. A lot of things outside of the basic needs are wants. So we have to really look at things and see, is this something that I actually need, or can I do without it? And then we've got to be willing to make adjustments. We've got to be willing to eliminate. We've got to be willing to make decisions that's going to help us decrease those expenses. As we look at our slide, it talks about, can we conserve? Or can we get something that's less expensive? Can we reduce the amount we're using in order to decrease the amount of money we're spending? Also, a lot of times, can we renegotiate what we're paying? That could be with your cell phone company, your cable provider, or anyone. Don't be afraid to negotiate. What's the worst they can say? No. And the best you can get is a better deal than you can have currently. So we have nothing to lose in trying to negotiate. So negotiate, ask the question, say, hey, how about this? Make a suggestion, put something in place that can help you reduce those expenses. And this last item is where it boils down to us being willing to make the sacrifice to get to where we want to get to. We have to be willing to say no to some things, eliminate some things, and then do without some things. These are not things that we need, but things that are wants, things that we could truly do without. Now, bottom line is there are going to be times when money is short. What happens when money is short? We're going to have to make some decisions when money is short. If I have $5 and I have 6 bills and they're all $1 a piece, then when money is short, as in this example, then somebody's not getting paid. But we have to think about, who is it that we don't pay? Who is it that we call to negotiate a lower price? What do we do to tackle that? We don't want to stay in a short money situation long, but if it happens to us, we got to be able to pivot, make a good decision, make a solid decision, and then move forward. When we're thinking about money is short, the thing we'll have to do is decide which bills to pay first and what is a priority. Bottom line, the main priority we have at this point are what I'll call the 4 walls. We have to have food, we have to have shelter, we have to have our utilities, we have to have transportation. Whatever that transportation is, gas for the car, paying the car note, bus fare, utilities, lights and water, food, of course, and a place to stay. Those come first. So if we are not going to pay someone, it certainly won't be in the food category, the shelter category, the utilities category, the transportation category, will not pay in those other categories, or we'll negotiate with those other categories. Bottom line is we got to be focused on making sure we set the right priority when the money is short. As we continue to look at and focus on, we're talking about spending, one of the three pillars of money. We can only do three things. We can spend it, which we should do last. We can save and invest it, and we can give it away. So we want to be doing some of both. But typically, we're mostly focused on the spending part, where we're all great at that, and we do more spending than saving and investing and more giving. So what can we do? We've talked about these, but just going back over, we talked about increasing income and decreasing expenses. We know that doing both of those together puts more money in our pocket, provides a better situation for ourselves and our family, and will speak to the future. So we want to look at increasing income. How can we do that? What are ways we can do that? Decrease expenses. Sometimes it's easier to decrease expenses than to increase income. But if we can do both, then that puts us and positions us for better financial health. Contact your creditors. When it comes down to someone who we cannot pay, someone we need to negotiate with, don't remain silent. Reach out, be proactive, initiate the call before they call us. We should initiate the call before they call us. Just let them know what is happening. Also, remember, when we're talking to these folks, don't agree to anything that you cannot do. Don't agree to pay XYZ if you don't have XYZ to pay. And if what you can pay is zero, then that's what it is at that point in time. But be upfront, make the contact, negotiate, try to cut the best deal for oneself as you can, and then move forward from there. But remember, when dealing with these creditors, do not commit to anything you cannot do, and then go forward from there. Also, reach out for help. You know, there's a time that we all have come to where we needed help, and we must not let pride get in our way. If we need help, reach out for help. Help could just be talking to someone who has who sees this from a different angle, who sees from a different perspective, and that conversation may give you the idea of a resolution for the money situation or the money problem. But just reach out for help. And we spoke about it just on the last slide. Prioritize what to pay first. And I'm telling you, the first thing we take care of is our 4 walls. We make sure we got food to eat, make sure we got a place to stay, make sure we got lights and water and heat, and make sure that we got whatever transportation is. So when you think about that, the transportation piece keeps us with access to our job, food. We need food to eat, to have energy to go back to the job, to do what we got to do to find a better job, to call the folks, to negotiate. Shelter, we got to have a place to stay. If we don't have a place to stay, that puts more pressure and stress on it. So take care of the 4 walls first. Then after that, everybody else is next. As we continue to look at, figuring out who is the priority, we talk about, making choices about who to pay first, who to pay in full, who to pay partially, who to pay late. Key thing with that is, if this situation occurs, then you got to look at what are the consequences, and then what are the greater consequences, what are the least consequences, and make decisions based on that. What we want to do is, with a saving and spending savings plan, we can prepare for those difficult times. And the way we do that is we establish what's called an emergency fund. We build up over time at least 3 to 6 months of our total monthly expenses into an account that sits there for no other purpose but emergencies. And the biggest emergency for this account is, I don't have a job at this point in time. No money is coming in, but with 3 to 6 months of expenses, I can still pay everything. I can still have my four walls in place. And I can still be in a position where I can find the next job, but I'm not destitute. I'm not without money during that time. So when we think about money running short, one of the best ways to plan for that, one of the best ways to make sure that doesn't happen is to have an insurance, your own insurance policy, which is an emergency fund that you've saved that's 3 to 6 months of all of your expenses. So think about that when we're making those priorities and planning um, for those times. As we look at this slide here, one of our last key takeaways, which is what we've been talking about this whole time, is we use that monthly spending and savings guide to help us control our money and to guide the decisions that we make. Bottom line, everyone, it is our responsibility as specifically as individuals or as families, as husbands and wives, as single individuals, to make sure that we have a spending plan in place that guides our money, that directs our money, and helps us prepare for right now, for tomorrow, for the rainy day, so that we are in better shape. And yours, we come to our last slide. The bottom line is we talked about a saving and a spending plan. We thought about different ideas, we put out different information, but the bottom line is this means nothing if you do not take action to put this in place and to move it forward for you and your family. So the first question says, what will I do? How will I do it? When will I do it? Why will I do it? And why is very important. We have to have a why. Why is what motivates us to take these actions. I want to have a spending plan and a saving plan in place. The why is because it's going to give me a better life now, tomorrow. It's going to change the life of my family. It's going to change the life of my children. And it can have impact generation after generation after generation down the road. What a great why. But if when it comes down to it, if we do not take the information and we do not apply it, we do not take action, then we're stuck. So what will I do? First thing you want to do is put together a spending plan, a spending and a saving plan. The spending and saving plan should look at all the income coming in, all of your expenses, detail them out in writing. Expense number one, food, we got shelter, we got utilities, we got housing, we have X, Y, and Z, and everything else laid all out. The goal is to pay all of the obligation, have money left over in order to save that money, either for an emergency fund, it could be for a specific purchase that's coming up, it could be for something that's way down the road. But the goal is to put together a real plan that's very detailed about where the money will go, what it will do, and what you're trying to accomplish with it. Now, how will you do that? You're going to do that either by securing an app that does that for you. We talked about EveryDollar. We also talked about being old school, paper and pencil, using the envelope system. All of these things contribute to getting the plan done. We also talked about the idea of saving change and saving $1 bills and $5 bills, or anytime a $10 bill come in, I save it. All of that adds to our ability to stick with our spending plan and to put savings into effect. Will I share my plans with anyone? If so, who? Now, we all know we got people that are very positive. We got people that are sometimes negative. So when you talk about sharing your plans, we know ourselves, we know our friend circle, our social circle, our family circle. if you're going to share with somebody who you know is just a person that may take a negative look or negative view, then you may decide, I won't share with that person. Also, if somebody is very positive, they're going to be encouraging, they've already done this, then share with that person. They can give you ideas. They'll be an encouragement. There are going to be times when we have setbacks, but don't let the setbacks take you off of the course and off of the plan. A setback is just a setback. We got set back, we came back, we made a comeback, and then we continue to move forward. The last point I want to make is the bottom of slide 16. You see here, you can schedule a consult through with the presenter, or that would be me, or through RiverWorks Financial Coach. We have the website there. You can use that and go forward from there. So as we begin to wrap up today's session, our focus today was spending. And I call it the art of spending. Don't look at spending as something that's willy-nilly. Just go out and spend. But look at spending as a true art and science. And if we get the art and science and the nuances of spending, we will position ourselves for a solid financial foundation and a solid state of financial health. Financial health can change our lives. It can change our people, can change our world, can change our city, it can change our state and our country. But in order for us to do that, for order for us to get there, we have to grasp these concepts, believe in these concepts, and apply these concepts. All of the ideas, all of the concepts work. The key factor in these concepts working for you and for I is our own selves. We have to be willing to be disciplined. We have to be willing to make changes. We have to be willing to make sacrifices. We have to be willing to do the hard work, to take the time, to be dedicated to the path of financial health and financial prosperity. So I encourage everyone that's listening to this presentation to really focus on your spending plan and your saving plan, to put it in writing, to make it real, to setbacks if they come, to celebrate your successes. Let us go forward, let us move ahead, and let us make this happen. I thank you. Have a great day, and goodbye.